Hello children, good morning to you all. So, today I welcome you all to the new session. Let us start a new lesson. We have completed everything in the third lesson, that is Papaya's Adventure. Now, our new lesson is Wind Song. Wind Song means sound of the wind. Here, some birds recognize the sound of the wind and they react to it. If it is pleasant, they become happy. If they say, because of the sound of the wind, they recognize the dangers ahead and they try to intimate it to the people. So that is how here is a lesson, Wind Song, which is all about a small bird which was bought by a girl and she loved it very much. It sang to her and she liked its song. And one day this bird could not sing anything. It was looking dull. When it was looking dull, that girl noticed why the bird is looking dull. Then she spoke to her mother about it. But she told us maybe some ill health. But actually that day tornado occurred. Means a storm. In America there is a speed storm which can uplift the trees, which can uplift the cars and throw somewhere. Such a terrible wind it is. So tornado occurred. So it was dull because it came to know that tornado is going to occur. So it comes with heavy rains and all. Then the girl whose father was working in the field, she ran to her father, informed it and asked him to come back. And that's why how all the family members stood together in one small corner of the house and they were saved by the tornado. It was all happened because of the bird. So here what we are going to learn, if we love the animals, in return they love us. Understand? If we love the animals, in return they love us. They are very, very faithful to us. So how the bird saved the family is our lesson. Understand? So let us start our lesson, the wind song. Here they have given the information about so many birds. Let me read it to you first. Then let us go to the lesson. Hummingbirds are the smallest birds in the world. See here on first page, warming up. Warming up. Hummingbird is the smallest bird in the world, but it flies very fast, very, very speedily. They can flap their wings 20 to 70 times per second to stay suspended mid-air like a helicopter. They flap their wings from 20 to 70 times in a second to be held in the air like the helicopter. They are the only birds which can fly backward and upside down. They can move in any direction. Other birds, they move in forward direction. They can even fly in backward direction also. Next, ravens is a bird. Raven is the bird. Ravens are even better than parrots at mimicking human speech. Ravens are the birds which can mimic, means they act like human beings. They, do the mimicry of the human beings. Act just like the person. They repeat what the humans say. They repeat the human speech better than the parrot also. They can also imitate the sound of car engine. See, car engine sound also they can imitate, they produce. When they live in forest, ravens often imitate the calls of animals to confuse them. See, animals, wild animals will be there in the forest. They, before they move, they roar, they make their sound. So these ravens even imitate, make the sound of the animals, and they confuse them. The animals think there is some other animal also in the forest of their own kind. Then comes owl. Third, these three animals, examples they give. Owls can rotate their heads about 270 degrees to their left and right. Being short sighted, they depend on their powerful sense of hearing to locate their prey. As they can also detect the height at which the sound is made, they can calculate the exact location of their prey. They can move their head nearly 270 degrees, almost all around, little bit less. And their sight is very weak. Owl's sight is very weak. Vision is very weak. That's why they depend on their sense of hearing. They could hear very clearly and locate the prey. Prey means their hunt. Understand? This is the speciality of the birds given here. One is hummingbird, second raven, third owl. Owl, I'm sorry. So next is our lesson. So whether to start the lesson or first get the hard words is the point. I feel better to do the lesson today. So let us start our lesson, the wind song. Our lesson is wind song. Wind song. So, it was a hot and a dry day. The wind howled in the plains. Rachel sat on the bed, hand stitching a quilt. She had just finished when the door swung open and her father came in. It was a dry, hot day, common, normal day. The wind howled in the plains. The wind blew with some sound. In the plains, it is a type of land area. Rachel sat on the bed, hand stitching a quilt. Rachel was sitting on her bed and stitching the quilt. Quilt means a rug which you can use for covering your body during cold day. Quilt. Blanket I can call it. It's a kind of blanket. బొంతలు అంటారు కదా మీ లాంగ్వేజ్లో, సేమ్. She had just finished, when she finished stitching the quilt, her father entered the house. Hot day out there, he said, wiping his forehead. Hot day there, he was wiping his head. Means sweating. Rachel ran to him and proudly showed him her masterpiece. It was a cheerful quilt with neat stitches outlining the colorful squares. So, if we do anything good, we want to show somebody, who can appreciate your work, praise your work, say very good, nice you did. Understand? In that way, she also ran to her father and showed him her masterpiece. Masterpiece means very great work, beautiful work, which is think it is very great. Understand? It was cheerful. Cheerful means not a happy here. Here beautiful. Beautiful quilt with stitches, neat stitches. Stitched it very neatly, outlining the colorful squares. It was made of square like this. Huh? Patches. Some colorful patches. Okay, like this. Colorful pieces of cloth joined together. And it was outlined, bordered. Outlining means bordering it in a beautiful manner. Outlining means bordering with colorful. These colorful squares she bordered beautifully. Understand? That's a mighty fine piece of work. Mighty means very great. Piece of work, said her father. He nodded. Let us go into town this Sunday. You can show off your quilt. I have got a sack of onions ready to take to the market. So, father said next week let us go to the market nearby. Obviously, his father is a farmer, means they were staying in the village. So, he told her, let us go to the nearest market and show off your quilt. Means show it to the people over there. They can buy it. So, why he wanted to go? I have got a sack of onions. Onions, no, ulipayalu. Onions, one bag of onions. Sack means goli sanchi. Bag of onions, we will sell them in the market and we will go for a shop, he said. On Saturday, the family excitedly drove to the nearest town, 20 miles away, and stopped at the general store. While her brother and sister explored the store and her parents spoke to the grocer, Rachel wandered to the doorway to look at the bright yellow bird in the cage. It hopped from perch to perch, rarely standing still. A man who had stopped by was also watching the bird intently. It listens to the wind, he told Rachel. He told Rachel before walking away. So on Saturday, they all, full family members, Rachel, our main character, her brother, sister, father, mother, all went to the nearby market, nearby town, which was 20 miles away from their village. There, her father stopped at a general store, Kirana Kottu antam chudandi. General store, where everything you can buy. While her brother and sister explored the store, means they went all around the store to see, to find out. Exploring means to finding out. Explore means to find out what all are displayed in the shop, what are all available in the shop. By then, her father was speaking to the grocer, means shop owner, one who sells all provisions, food items, about the onions. By then, Rachel wandered to the doorway. Wandered means walked without any reason towards the door, where she could see a yellow color bird in the cage. It was so beautiful. It hopped from perch to perch. From one side to another side, it was hopping, jumping. It was rarely standing still. Standing still means without any movement. It was not standing in one place. It was just restlessly moving from one place to another place. Same way, a man who stopped by was also watching the bird intently. There was a man who was standing and watching the bird intently. Means with some reason he was watching it. Then he said to the girl, Rachel, it listens to the wind. He told Rachel before walking away. He said, it listens to the wind. He said to her. Her parents appeared a moment later. At the same time, the little bird lifted its hands, head, swelled its chest, and sang out a joyful trill. Rachel saw her mother's face light up with delight. So, her parents, after completing their formalities, they also came where Rachel was standing. At that time, the little bird lifted its head up, swelled its chest, and it sang cheerfully. It sang a joyous trill. Trill means musical note. Some ragamu antam kada. It sang some song. Rachel saw her mother's face lit up with delight. Means listening to the song, her mother became very, very happy. So, what Rachel thought? Her mother was happy with the bird. So, if I take this bird home, she would be happy ever. She would look at the bird and enjoy every day. Quietly, Rachel traded her beautiful quilt for the bird. So, quietly she moved to the man and she traded, means made a business, means she exchanged her beautiful quilt for the bird. Means she sold the quilt and bought the bird. She sold the quilt and brought the bird. So, back home, the little canary entertained them endlessly. They called him Sir Gallant because he battled with the wind. The louder the wind, the more loudly he sang. The competition was so fierce that sometimes everyone burst out laughing. Sir Gallant lifted their spirits, turning dusty days into sunshine days. So, they brought the bird home and the little canary, means when it is brought to home, the little canary means bird entertained them endlessly. It gave them joy, entertainment. Endlessly means continuously without any break. They called him Sir Gallant. They named it Sir Gallant. Gallant is the word used to the people who are brave in olden days. Because why they named it Gallant? Because it was so bravely battled with the wind. How speedily wind appeared, it used to sing so properly with it. The louder the wind, more loudly he sang. విండ్ ఎంత గట్టిగా ఎంత స్పీడ్గా ఎంత పెద్ద సౌండ్తో వస్తుందో అంత గట్టిగా ఇది పాడేదన్నమాట. సో దెర్ వాజ్ అ టఫ్ కాంపిటీషన్ బిట్వీన్ ద విండ్ అండ్ ద bird song. The competition was so fierce, means tough, that sometimes everyone burst out laughing. So this was observed by all the family members. They burst with laughter. Means ఇది ఇట్లా గట్టిగా విండ్ సౌండ్ విని విని పాడడం చూసి అందరికీ నవ్వు వచ్చేస్తుంది. సర్ గ్యాలెంట్ లిఫ్టెడ్ దేర్ స్పిరిట్స్, turning dusty days into sunshine days. Means Sir Gallant lifted their spirits, means made them very happy turning their dusty days into sunshine days, means making their dry days, unhappy days, into changing their unhappy days into happy days. In this way, Sir Gallant, means that bird, canary, made them very, very happy. So, let us stop here. What happened next? Let us see tomorrow. What happened next? Let us see tomorrow, and we will, after the lesson is over, we will have our difficult words. Here we stop. Thank you, children.